welcome back to a very special episode of Gear182. As you notice, we have a third box to my right, I guess, right over here. We have this is our first episode that we're having a guest on to interview and talk gear and music and all that fun stuff. And so this is Ty Cobb, everybody. Ty, you want to say
hello?
Hi?
How is everybody doing tonight?
Doing good. Doing good.
We had this idea a while back. Me and Stefan were talking about, it's fun to go through like a Tom guitar, a Mark guitar, Billy Joe Armstrong, but like let's start interviewing like some of the community.
Yeah.
Let's see what gear they have, what gear inspires them. Let's make some fun episodes. Like, maybe this will get a lot of views, maybe it won't, but who cares? Let's just have a good time.
Probably not, but yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited. So, Ty, maybe just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm from the Hoosier State, born in Southern Indiana. Grew up in the Indianapolis area. Went to college at Indiana University. Played in a band sophomore year. Started sophomore year of high school. And so in high school, kind of had a dual track. I was captain of the football team in the spring, and then actually Valentine's Day senior year, my band got to open for the Used in My Chemical Romance, which was pretty sick. It was pretty sick, yeah. But I was most geeked because the Movie Life took the stage right after us, and I was still am a huge The Movie Life fan. So then, like that was kind of a surreal moment. Nobody knew who MCR was then. The Taste of Ink was huge, but so that was that was fun. We I didn't go to college right after high school. I guess now you look at it, it was really just a gap year, but I look at it as just taking a year off. But we had toured in Florida, and basically just 14 acres in a van in Florida. We kind of self-imploded down there. Got back together for a few months after, but by January of 2004, we had disbanded. So I had done well academically and on the SETs and stuff, and so I got accepted to IU and didn't realize it, but thought I would have to reapply. And I called, and they're like, "Oh no, your acceptance is good for 5 years. You just got to write a letter." So I ended up going to IU, and then I actually sold my last bass until I bought my next one in 2017. I think in probably 05, maybe early 05. So like for 11 years, I didn't even have a bass. I mean, I always had an acoustic guitar around at a minimum, but you go to college. I went to business school, and it's like the idea of being in a band. I mean, you're going out to the bars, and it's like every band's playing "Don't Stop Believing" and cover songs and this and that. And it's like, there's other priorities and stuff in college, and so. But of course, also it's like, does this even make sense anymore? And so, eventually I, was working and, started, having moderate success, and I'd always wanted an American precision bass. And so I decided to go ahead and get one. And, first I had gotten, a really nice Taylor acoustic guitar. It was, that year that I took off, I ruined my credit. So, in college, I wasn't able to get credit cards.
Let me just stop you right there and just ask, why bass, Ty?
That was my next question.
Yeah. This is an easy story. So my stepmom, she's a classically trained musician. She went to St. Louis University. I'm not sure exactly what her degree was in, but when her and my dad met, she was in a long-running cover band called 5 Easy Pieces here in Indy. I mean, they would do like the big ballroom New Year's Eve shows, I mean, they're doing like, the B-52s, they were professional musicians. And actually the only person I ever took bass lessons from was Dane, who played bass in that band. But, so in 7th grade, my stepbrother was in 8th grade. He got a bass for Christmas, and cause he always talked about wanting to play the bass, and he just never touched it. And actually, I realized this today, Brian. So it's funny you asked that. Somebody I follow and know in the indie scene went to see MXPX last night up in Chicago, and I was like, "Hey, did you? Was there Encore Shift Magnet?" He's like, "No, they played it early." And I'm like, "Well, Shift Magnet is the song that made me want to go to my stepbrother's room and pick up that bass because he wasn't touching it. And so I remember I had stolen $5 out of my mom's wallet and gone to the video store. This is when their video rental stores would sell like UCDs. And I pulled out the MXPX, and I thought the Life in General cover was so cool. And I only knew who they were because kids at school, you know, wearing the MXPX shirts, right? I had no idea what it was. And I remember the first time I heard that bass line, right? And it probably took me a good 6 months. And for probably the first 3 months, it was just dun 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 dun. Like, and I'll never forget the first time I got the ding ding ding. It was like, honestly, like I get chills thinking about it, quite frankly, because it's like wait, I got this. And so, and obviously, you know, like Blink and those songs weren't all that complicated to play. My stepmom being classically trained, I remember one of the first like semi-complicated bass lines that, I mean, she could hear a bass line by ear, but she taught me, she learned Pretty Fly for a White Guy, which is like, dun, 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 dun. I mean, not complicated, but
you're saying it all started with Mike Herrera and MXPX, but you don't have a Stingray Ernie ball behind you?
No, I do. I have a Minty. I don't play it much just because of I will play it live, but I kind of have to commit to it just because it's, you know, I try to always just have two basses, right? So I usually take two P basses. So there's not much like drastic difference, but no, I love playing that thing. Yeah, so I definitely have a Stingray, and I saw his signature model that came out. That was pretty cool. He got that, but yeah, you know, I think I'd have to say that it was that bass line specifically that you know, really made me want to play the bass, and it made it easy, right? Because I mean, my stepbrother had a bass down the hall, and actually, I have it right back there, but we didn't have a bass amp. It was like a little Roland computer speaker that we played through for the first several years. So yeah, that's why that's how I got into the bass. My stepbrother had it, didn't touch it. I started thinking, you know, maybe I could do this, and picked it up. Yeah. So
has it always been P basses for you? Like your go-to staple bass when you...
Yeah, sure. So the first real bass I got, my parents actually surprised me and bought it from the bassist of the band my stepmom was in, and it was a jazz bass. I mean, such a thin neck, and it had these pickups that I've never seen before, and I've never seen since. That each, okay, so. Like each pickup had like these 3 white buttons that you could like push either which. I still to this day don't even know what they did. Like it had the normal like volume controls. But anyway, that was my main player. And then I think it was probably junior year, I got my Hoppus, and then that, you know, I pretty much never put that down, and the other one became the backup. But
so your main basses now is your dream bass, your 65 P bass and natural, yes, right? Yeah,
it's a 75, and the reason that I had to have a 70, and it had to be 75, couldn't be 76, because 75 and 76 the headstocks change, and like that logo is just my bass teacher, his bass was a 72 P bass, and I remember when I would hold his bass, like I would just feel like I was so much better, and I know it was, you know, a placebo effect, right? But I just remember the feel of that freaking neck and how it just felt like it played itself. And so I just knew, you know, eventually, you know, if I ever got really serious, I would one day need to get a 70 bass. So yeah, that's my main player, and it's just, man, like it doesn't matter what I plug in. You plug that thing in, and it's like, yep.
Yeah, and then I've seen you with a shell pink P bass, and then that yellow one behind you. That's
Yes. So the shell pink is really fun.
So was the shell pink the one that you got originally? Like that was the first Hoppus bass that you said that you got?
No. So this is this is different. So I had done sorry, my phone fell out there. So a friend. I'm lucky enough and blessed to call a friend, sold me this neck. Well, I think we did a trade. We do a lot of deals. It's American neck, tour used, and got on Reverb and found somebody out in Cali. I think it was Real Life Relics, and basically had him do this body. I mean, you know,
Oh, that's so cool.
Relic to hardware. I mean, it's got the Seymour Duncan QPs in it, but yeah. So that's my that's the shell paint.
I recognize that signature, Ian from Newfound Glory, and that bass is
Oh yeah,
his style right there. The quarter pounder, one knob.
Well, this one has two knobs, and I'm not sure what bass I forget what bass this neck originally came off of, but yeah, there's the I mean this is the Ernie ball right here. So
That's
and then
nice.
Is that a Sterling or is that like a Ernie ball?
No, it's an Ernie ball of music, man. I'm pretty sure when I got that at Guitar Center that they accidentally charged me $500 less for it because it rang up at like $13.50, and I don't think there's any way it should have rang up to $13.50. It was price hard.
Be able to just buy a bass and not even know what you're gonna pay for it.
Yeah.
Just be like, oh,
Well,
I was thinking the same thing.
That's the genius of Synchrony Bank and 48-month interest-free financing. So, yeah, I mean, it's all I'm walking there paying cash, but yeah, and then this black one here, this was the first one that I got. Had a white pick guard. I traded out for a black. I love this bass, but my dream bass is a maple neck with a Daphne body and a pearl pick guard, and so I'm debating on getting this one refinished. Finally got some pricing. You would not believe how hard it is to get pricing to get a bass refinished.
you got the yellow one there, right?
Yeah. So yeah, this is the Allan Corona. It's an American neck, actually a 75th anniversary.
Nice.
So it's got the 75th anniversary there.
Cool.
And then I really like how Fender started putting Corona California. They don't even do Made in the USA up there anymore. I forgot. They do the Corona California back there and then the US and the serial number. I like that, but I did always like being able to easily identify a Made in Mexico bass. And I went off camera just a second. They don't call them the Made in Mexico anymore, right? They call them what, like the something like standard or something like that, you know?
Deluxe series or something.
Yeah, they don't say that anymore. They took that out of the.
So do you know how to play a 5-string? Do you play with a pick only? Can you slap? What kind of stuff you do?
Yeah, sure. So I've never ever played. I don't even know if I've ever held a 5-string. Honestly, if I'm being honest with you, I play primarily with a pick. I mean, everything I do with Huxley's with a pick. I mean, if I'm playing a bass line like Crazy Little Thing Called Love or sitting around, I mean, I think I really learned how to do runs by sitting around and just learning Bob Marley Legend, like kind of front to back. I mean, like, you know, I Shot the Sheriff, the doom 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 doom. So when I'm playing that stuff, right, I mean, it's finger picking. I can slap, but it's like, I don't, none of the music I play is really slap music. So it's like, it's not a technique that, you know, I've developed whatsoever other than just being able to do some like rudimentary stuff, you know, I had learned. But no, I mean, I'm a pick player, but if I'm sitting around chilling, you know, if I want to learn what was the Biggie Smalls song the other day, Juicy, I think One More Chance I looked up, you know, like,
nice.
you know, sitting around playing that type of stuff. I'm playing with my fingers, but actually, I think that song may have actually taken a little bit of slap and pop, but no, for the most part, I'm a pick player.
So, like, yeah. Stefan, before we get into any, like, Blink type questions, did you want to ask anything else on your list?
Yeah, so the yellow that you have that Allan made, was that one that you requested? Is there a reason why you wanted the yellow? Is there any significance? I mean, we know that he used a yellow in the AOL sessions, but was that the reason that you picked it? Was there any other reason?
Yeah, no, I mean, that was it, you know. And I mean, it's like, what's the
I show the fans that yellow right there. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Sick,
there you go.
Yeah,
oh yeah.
You know,
nice.
I just he had really been getting on fire by that point, and I mean, I had struck up a conversation with him early, you know, doing a lot of you know, really getting going, and I just noticed nobody ever requested that bass, and I would always ask him, Alan, like, nobody's requesting an AOL Sessions bass. Like, I've never seen a yellow Hoppus bass. How is that? And I'm just like, if nobody like requests this by certain, so it just kind of ended up happening, and yeah, so it's pretty cool. I mean, I think he's done a couple since then, and but yeah, for me, I just think like it was always like so that AOL sessions was I think their first big appearance for the Untitled album was that the live performance they did for TRL on the roof of MTV when they came out with Feeling Day. Yeah. It just like blew people away. But then I think also kind of the same thing's part of that promotion was the AOL sessions, and I just think that was one of the most like exciting and like large times in like the band's history. And honestly, I don't really. I mean, I play guitar and I enjoy having guitars around. I don't really need another guitar. I don't need anything, but I'm very blessed. But I really would like the Tom DeLonge, that the white. What is it?
The Jazzmaster Subsonic thing.
Is it? Yeah. I'd really like that to match, but I'm big on matching. Like I had a yellow DeLonge that I sold last year when things were kind of at their peak, and but then when I got this one, I was like, I wish I kept that one.
Is that a behind you on your other side?
Yeah. So this is I had three at one point. I had the blue, I had the yellow, but this surf green's about the only one I ever played, and
cool. That actually segues into my next question. Is let's talk Blink for a minute. So it doesn't even have to be bass because you're a bass player. It can be anything. Is there what part of Blink-182's gear like really screamed at you growing up? Like when you saw it, you were like, I want that. That's my favorite ever.
Honestly, I think it was the 8x10 cabs. I mean, I think I think my goal as a musician has always been to get to the point where I'm playing a stage that justifies me having an 810 on each side of the drummer or 2 or 3 810s on my side of the stage. I mean, I just think that, I don't know, like the impact of just seeing those. And then when he started, what tour was it when he had like kind of like the unicorn and just like started? He would do like the tape, the booger snot and stuff. But then he started doing like the more like artsy stuff on it, and I just always loved the clean look of those 3 Ampeg 810 side by side in the road case. So yeah, that's how I'd answer that question. I mean, the basses, the instruments were great.
The bass side was screaming at you the most, though, for sure. Mark stuff.
Oh yeah. I mean, I played the bass, right? And so, I mean, I never had any interest or even thought about getting any, guitar or any. I mean, I've always been a huge fan of Tom. I mean, Tom just cracks me up.
Are you a fan of the hollow bodies that Tom plays, the Gibsons?
I've never played one, and so I don't think I'm educated enough to have an opinion on that. I don't know. Like I said, the guitars I play are. I mean, pretty much that. I have a 96 MIM Strat that plays just about as well as any American. I have one of those 50s Daphne Blue Ventura that they released a couple years ago. So, when I play guitar, now my guitarist, he's got a hollow body Gretsch, and so we got a lot of access to a lot of different instruments, like when we record and stuff, and like to get different tones. But I don't have a specific opinion on that. I mean, I guess I'd be curious to know, like, I mean, not obviously, but I know the Strat's a high gain instrument with those, Invader pickups. Did the hollow body have Invader pickups, or what pickups did he use in those?
Originally, I mean, his 335 in Boxcar Racer, like the red with the stickers all over it, originally had the Invader pickup, and then they swapped it for a Dirty Finger, which is a little bit more hot, I would say.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I was one of my favorite guitars I have is it's my producers, and we kind of share it, but it's a Harley Benton. And when people say that, they're like, that's an Amazon guitar. And but this is like souped up. It's got Dirty Finger pickups in it. It's got locking tuners, and I'm telling you, it's the best neck I've ever played. I mean, it's like butter. But Dirty Finger pickups. I've seen what they can do for sure.
Yeah, they're
like, for me, I was gonna ask you, like, even if it's not Blink, like, for me, I try to think of a guitar of any artist, doesn't matter if you even like their music or not, what's like a guitar or bass that you just see and you're like, that would be the dream? And I'll just go ahead and say, when Dave Brown Sound of Sum 41 had that brown and orange PRS with the one humbucker, one knob, I was just like, man, that guitar is sick. Is there
Sure.
anything like that from any artist that you can think of on top of your mind that you're like, that gear is sick?
Um,
Anything that like your friend Ian from Newfound Glory has that you just think
yeah, I
is
mean,
ever?
you know, all his stuff is fun. You know, all his stuff is like bright and colorful. I always love, you know, when they go out on tour and, you know, if he has a new round of basses, I always love that. I'm trying to think of you know, I don't really play his style much, but you know, that Flea signature bass, that shell pink jazz bass is
I really like
you
that
know,
one. Yeah, I really
that's
like that one.
pretty sweet bass. But I'm trying to think. I mean, you know, really, anytime I see anybody rocking just like a true, like vintage, like Fender P, anytime I see somebody with a Daphne blue bass, honestly, any pastel color, like I'm like Easter when it comes Easter eggs when it comes to my guitars, like any pastel
On the
color.
one track colors, yeah, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, um, but yeah, it's but even an Ernie ball, you know, I mean, anytime I see somebody playing a Music Man, you know, especially like at local bars or things like that, when it's like a local band and not like a major act or something like that, and
Mhm.
you see somebody rocking a legit professional instrument, it's hard not to go up and be like,
Yeah. I mean, it's
that's
cool
sick.
getting a perspective from a musician like you that's like all about tradition, that likes the standard P bass, that you're not just trying to get your hands on something an artist plays, you just appreciate that classic
Mhm.
traditional look. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah. Don't get me wrong. I like I like having fun with stuff. I made a rule. Well, not a rule, but I'm not a big fan of stickers. There was a really cool sticker that somebody did of Ian, and so I put that on my shell pink base, and I think my daughter slapped a little like my little mermaid sticker on there or something. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I'm a fan of the the bright colors and but even the black. I mean, the black's pretty sick looking bass on stage too.
So Ty,
Yeah.
being fans of Newfound Glory and Blink and stuff, what did you start getting into the pop punk kind of scene?
Oh, man. So, all right. So growing up, my parents split when I was 7, and so, you know, the weekend and time spent with my mom, the record she was spinning was, BB, CC Winans, Mariah Carey, Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson. I mean, but then with my dad, on the weekends we'd be going to the racetracks or whatever, and it was Clapton, Johnny Cooper, Van Halen. I mean, all of those. I mean, Aerosmith. I mean, my goodness, my first favorite band was Aerosmith. But I'll never forget uh, being. I probably would have been 9 because I think the single probably would have come out over the summer of '94, and I can remember exactly in Anderson, Indiana, where I was with my dad on the road driving the first time I heard Basket Case, and I remember thinking, wait, what was that? And there was some connection there that was like, like I loved Eric Clapton. I love listening to. I remember my favorite Mellencamp song was "Check It Out." Aerosmith. I loved all that, but that Green Day song when it came out, when I first heard that, dude, you have the time. It was speaking to me. I'm a 10-year-old. My parents got divorced. I'm trying to, I just want to like scream at the world, and it was like, oh shit. I mean, I remember when I finally started learning the words. My dad would, I went to a horror. I'd say, you can't say that, and I was like, well, why? I didn't know why I couldn't say that. I didn't know what. But yeah, and I mean, I
As a
remember
bass player, how do you feel about the skill of Mike Dirnt? Do you feel like he's incredible, or with his
um,
bass run?
I'll tell you right now, like one of my favorite bass lines to play is "Warning," or I'm
Mhm.
sorry, "Minority." And I've played it now for probably 20 years, and like I still like, it's hit or miss if I'm gonna hit it right or not every time. I mean if you ever sat and tried to play what's the warning?
Yeah.
It's really just the scale, right? But it's through the whole freaking song.
Tell me
You
what you
know,
said on the phone earlier. Some of the watchers are gonna be like, "What's your favorite Blink bass line? Is it Carousel? What is it?"
I mean, Carousel. I mean, the funny thing is, Carousel's pretty elementary. Not, and that's not a knock on Blink, right?
That's fun.
Carousel, it's a very fun bass line, but my favorite is Feeling This. I just
Nice.
that I mean it's but I guess maybe why that's not like a popular opinion is because it's not a Man Overboard where it's isolated. It's not even online song, right? Or
And it's different live, right?
what's that?
Feeling This is different when it's played live than the album.
Well, the thing is, I don't know, I don't know that for sure, right? I mean, it seems like it is, when and you can't play it without, doing some of the nuance and make it sound fine live. And I mean, there's plenty of songs that I'll do, like when I'm in the studio, I may play a little more complicated, than I do like in a live
Yeah.
situation. But I mean, Mark's a fantastic bassist, right? And so I'm not really sure if he plays it any different live uh, than how it's played on the record. But um, uh, one of the early bass lines I liked was track 8 on Dude Ranch. Is that Untitled? Is that the name of that song?
Yeah.
I think of a while. Yeah, that I always like that bass line. But
Are
yeah.
you a big fan of the famous Mutt bass line that everybody loves?
Oh yeah.
He's very excited.
Yeah, great call. I
His headphones came out.
I completely forgot about Mud. I mean,
Jeez.
it's not complicated, but that got me excited because that's the fun thing about. I love how Mark spends so much time on the D and the G string. I mean, it's just fun. I love the Josie bass line.
What is your opinion? Have you ever played the Hoppus bass that has the reverse pickups? Do you feel like it makes it
Never
different?
have. I've never played one. From the people I've talked to that haven't maybe necessarily played one, but it seems like it does make a difference. I mean, it seems like the logic's there. So, but no, I haven't. Oh yeah, that one has it, doesn't it?
Mhm.
It's not even, they're not even really reversed. It's just this one that's down here is now up here. This one's in the same position.
Oh wow. Okay.
So it's just they took that one and put it up
Just moved
there.
it up, yeah.
Wow. Wow. I mean, what do you think? Do you notice?
Yeah, I noticed that the D and G are a little brighter. That's about it. It's not a huge difference.
Yeah, I mean, the crazy thing is, it's like with gear these days, like there's so much you can do, like just with like a Sans amp, to like, manipulate tone. You wouldn't think you need to be doing like,
Right.
that type of stuff. I mean, you got to assume Mark's working with people to know what they're doing, and like I said, I understand the logic, about it. I mean, it's just trying to, especially if you're playing up there so much. But I think, naturally, I think Mark's bass lines are probably who I ended up, learning the most, like growing up playing. So I think naturally, I play a lot in his style, still on the fretboard. I'm kind of having that power chord,
Cool.
structure, quite a bit, but.
Well, we'll let Stefan ask his last rapid fire questions he had for you.
So, maybe not rapid fire, but you were talking before, when we were just talking about kind of setting this up about the Pop Disaster Tour and how, obviously being young, listening to Basket Case, you big Green Day fan, taking notice of Blink, big Blink fan. You were at the show, and you were telling me a fun story about it, so maybe want to tell the story?
Yeah, no, thanks for giving me the opportunity. Yeah, so I actually, I drove over from Indy, and it was actually my first time ever driving on the interstate. I had a friend that was supposed to go with me to the show, and I remember I was so excited when that show was announced. It was the first tour ever where they did pit tickets, and I remember thinking, like, they're going to remove seats, they're going to have a pit up there in all these places, right? Especially places like the Indy show, and so. Went over to the night before the Columbus, Ohio show. I had tickets 2 to Columbus and 2 to Indy. So 4 pit tickets. Night before the Columbus, Ohio show, my friend that was supposed to go got grounded. So I drove over solo. I mean, got there 5-6 hours early. Sat outside. I was one of the first in line. Scalped the ticket quick, and of course, all the other entrances were getting in a lot faster. And I'm just like, there's no way at this point. But I got second, row after the barricade, and Saves the Day played. They finished. The girl in front, about passes out. So security pulls her up, and I walk right up to the barricade, and your Green Day's next up. And I knew it was International Super Hits had just come out. Mm-hmm. And I just love Maria, and I knew they opened with that. So I was so stoked. I mean, I'm so stoked for the whole thing. And anyway, I'd seen him one time before, and during Knowledge, if you've seen him, of course, they pull people out of the audience to play. And first time I saw it was on the Warning tour, and I was like, oh, these were, and I didn't play music then, and it's like, oh, those people had to be playing. It's like, start banning out of the audience, like BS, this and that. Well, by the time Pop Disaster came around, I knew how to play. The message boards were a thing. I knew exactly what song it was. I knew when the Squire guitar came out. That's when it was time to get crazy. And so Squire guitar comes out. I start going nuts. And, first they're like, we need a drummer. I can't play drums, so I don't do anything. We need a bass player. I went ape shit. Didn't get picked. We need a guitarist. Went ape shit. Didn't get picked. So they have it all set. Well, the girl he picked to play guitar, she can't play guitar. So he goes, you can't play, can you? She's like, no. He's like, go away by the side of the stage. He's like, we need another guitarist. Pick me. Pulled right over the barricade. I get on stage. I ran to trade the drum kit. I'm like hugging him. I run over to Mike. I'm like high-fiving him. And the last thing I remember was Billy grabbing my face like this and like turning it this way, squeezing my face, giving me like the biggest like wet like kiss on my lips, straps the guitar over my shoulder, starts to show me how to play it. I'm like, Billy, I know how to play it. And yeah, like I said, on the message boards, I knew that even though nobody that I know was there was going to see it, I knew on the message boards, whoever played got to keep the guitar. So the whole time, I'm like, at least I'll have this. At least I'll have this. And sure enough, afterwards, he took the guitar from me, and I'm thinking, like, what are you doing? And he brought the girl back out and gave her your guitar and said, here, learn to play. So my, grail, it isn't even an item. It's just that footage. Like, footage of Knowledge from Schottenstein Center, Columbus, Ohio, June 9th, 2002 would be I have no words. Like, if I could ever get that footage,
I'll try to find it for you. So I'll try to find it for you. I'll do what I can to see if I can find some stuff. So
that'd be great.
That would be amazing to see.
Yeah, that'd be great. But it's one of those things too. It's like, when you tell people and it's like they call bullshit. It's like, how do you really argue with that? I'd probably call bullshit and shit on it too, But that's exactly what happened. So it'd be so cool to see that footage.
So Ty, you're a pretty big collector, obviously, by just the judging from the background. So, what is in your collection? What's your top thing that you collect?
Ooh, all right, great.
Or top thing that you want to show off?
Yeah, I mean, so I've been really lucky. Let's see here.
Here we go.
So this is fun.
How many guitar picks you have?
I actually won this. Now, I won it on eBay
for the
but
performance.
I did win it.
Oh, nice.
How many guitar picks you have, Ty?
I think I'm over 700 Newfound Glory guitar picks right now, but this is a favorite item of mine. This is I don't know if you can see it, but it's the Newfound Glory Barbed Wire music video. It's the bass Ian uses, and he smashes at the end. What do you notice about that bass right off the bat that's not right?
Made Mexico jazz bass?
Yes, jazz bass. I go, why would you use a jazz bass in a video? He goes, I'm not smashing a P bass. So, that's the Shure bass and pick used in that video, and he described it there. And then I have all the strings from the Forever Times Forever video. I love it. These tour itineraries are a lot of fun, but this right here is probably my my favorite. It's his jersey he wears in the "Don't Let Her Pull You Down" video.
Oh wow.
Probably one of my top 2 favorite songs. If you see behind it, I actually have the "Don't Let Her Pull You Down" poster, but obviously you can't see it. But I mean, I even get excited about stuff like that. Like just the like posters that are hard to find. And so went out to when I was out at Vegas, I actually saw the last show before Travis had his issue. Went to the stand. I was one of the first ones, and they're numbered out of 82. And I was like, "Do you have number 1 left?" They're like, "No." And I was like, "Do you have number 82 left?" They're like, "No." And my buddy was a genius. He goes, "Well, it is Blink-182. What about number 69?" And they're like, the guy behind the booth was like, "Damn it, I should have thought of that." Yes, we have that one. So that one's numbered 69 out of 82. So I told my buddy, I was like, "That was great. Thank you for. I wouldn't have even thought of that."
It's a good recommendation. So what?
Yeah, right? Yeah.
So what's out there right now that you know of that you're still on the hunt for? Like what's up there that you still don't have yet that you want?
I'd love to have all the "Hi, my name is Mark" pens signed by Mark, and all the variants. But I mean, those are so hard to come by. I mean, I have all of them signed by Mark except Jen. Although I actually just finally got a Jen. I wanted it at a decent price on eBay. I think I'm going to send it to Allan and have him sign it. And then
Nice.
because you own a lot of them, they also did the artist signed ones. Like I have the Crayola signed one. Wait, I'm not sure I forgot. I know I have the Dabs Mila signed one, but there's like a Dabs and a Mark signed one. But I have all of the Mark signed ones except the Hot Pink and the Gin at this point. So that'd be kind of nice to like finish that. But
Yeah, Ty you had talked to me about if people make it this far in the video, you wanted to like award somebody a prize, like in the comments or something. What were you thinking?
so, follow this channel. Follow at Huxley Band on Instagram.
HXLY. Yeah.
BAND, and you'll be chosen at random for a Vitas pin.
Oh, sweet.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Mark. Is it Vita's pin?
It's Vitas. I'm pretty sure I confirmed a long time ago that pronunciation.
Okay, cool.
90% sure it's Vitas.
So if you like Huxley Band and you like Gear182 and you leave a comment on this video, Ty will select it, and then we'll get in contact with you on like Instagram, and we'll get your information. We'll send you a pin.
That's amazing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's amazing.
I love spreading Blink love. It's
And the
fun,
comment, I would say the comment can be anything. Like, tell us something you like about Ty. Tell us something you don't like about Ty.
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, hold up a second. So Ty, have you tried or have you played the new Mark Hoppus? I guess what do they call it? MH3, like the Jaguar bass. And what are your thoughts on that?
No, I haven't. I've never been. I'm not a fan of the Jag. I'm not. But I mean, he's an artist. He can do what he wants with his instruments. I mean, that's the great thing about music, right? It's like there's so many different styles. There's so many different instruments you can play. There's so many different styles of instruments. Like, it's like the world's at your fingertips to make all the sounds you want. And so, I'm personally not a fan of the Jag, but I also am. I think the older I get learning, I'm not a fan of change. And so I think I just love he had that jazz with the P-neck, so down, but also part of me is just like, why don't you just play a P bass, but, I mean, I can see the appeal. I can see the appeal of it. I mean, I like, the Hi, My Name is Mark one that came out, like the inlays and, that type of stuff. That's pretty fun, but, I'm just not a fan of the Jag body. And I can't tell you why. I don't know. It's just.
Well, personal preference, I guess, right? Like.
Yeah, yes. But you know what? At the same time, if I had one in my hand, and it probably wouldn't take long to sell me on the idea of it either. So.
The last couple of questions I have Blink related. Top 3 Mark basses, top 3 Tom guitars.
So top 3 Mark basses. I mean, Groundskeeper Willie is just. I don't know. That's just extravagant. It's just cool shit. I'm cool as can be. And then Dabs.
Yeah.
I love the Dabs Mila bass. There was just something about that when that first came out.
You just said Daphne Blue, and that's
Yeah. I didn't say it because it's Daphne, but I just realized, yeah, it is Daphne. And then, I mean, I got to give my boy Allan a shout out. That gym bass that's something else.
It is, yeah, it's beautiful. It really is.
Yeah. Those are probably my top three. I hope we see that on stage. That would be. I mean, you got to assume it will be. I mean, I can't imagine. It wouldn't be. But yeah, those are my top three. Top three tom guitars. The probably the Surf Green, the AOL Sessions, that white one, and then what's that early one that had the Lagwagon, white with like the Lagwagon sticker on it? You know what I'm talking about?
We call it the sticker strat, right?
Yeah. Actually, didn't To the Stars just auction off a replica and Tom slide in the back? Is that the guitar? Was that it? Yeah. That just the nostalgia of that one is pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, what do you have in store for yourself for 2023? You got your band, you got everything going on for you. World's at your fingertips, Ty. What do you have going on?
Yeah, so my band Huxley, we are recording our next full length throughout December and January. Our next release is going to be a cover of Taylor Swift, "You're on Your Own, Kid." I'm just blessed to be surrounded by musicians that are a lot better and more talented than I am, and our singer has already got the arrangement and everything for it. That's going to be awesome. But a lot of the material is going to be not different. It's not like we're trying to go for a different sound, but we've challenged ourselves to write a slow song forever. And like for me, like when I sit down to write a slow song, I can't do it without it coming out as like an '80s ballad. You know what I mean? So kind of like figuring that out, and that that's just more of like a personal challenge. And I think we're targeting February 28th is the date to release that. It'll have at least 8, maybe 9 or 10 songs, and then just continuing to better myself as a person and as a father, and hopefully do a little more traveling in 2023 than I did this year. I mean, I was blessed to go plenty of places this year, but looking forward to that NFG acoustic tour next year. Unfortunately, I haven't, knock on wood, scored any tickets yet to Blink. But there's a lot that can happen between now and when the tour starts. So I'm just grateful they're back together and rocking again. So really looking forward to the album.
Tell us your 30-second review of Edging.
Yeah, that was my last.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. I mean, I love Edging. I mean, I think when it really comes in, it gives me the vibes that Feeling This gave me when Feeling This came out. There's something about that first verse and it being Tom's voice coming in, it's like almost right away, and it's like it's I ain't that cool. Yeah. I mean, sorry but it's just like immediately it's like, yep, Tom's back. And then I just think the song structure, I think is, I just think it's a phenomenal song. I think that, if you get into like how complicated their songs are versus the others, like I think in all of music, like I think it's no secret that most of the time the best songs are the simplest songs. But I honestly, I think it's just the impact of Tom coming back and that, like, just, I mean, what's the second line of that first verse? I mean, I'm not going to say it on here, right? But it's just like, the first time I heard it, I just remember thinking like, this is where I want my Blink-182 in 2022. And I mean, probably took more than 30 seconds. But
Right on. That's awesome. No, that's good. That's good.
So, but I can understand the critics. But I heard this one time, and I'm a big believer of it. And I'm not trying to say this altruistically, but I think you're either an artist or you're a critic. I don't think you can be both. Because I think if you're an artist, you understand that, like, if anybody ever tried to like say that, like, I would try to like write a song to sound like something else, like something on purpose, I'd be like, you're completely overestimating me as a musician. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing half the time. I'm just trying to, I mean, you know how it is. Like, if you've ever written a song, right? A lot of times it's like, you're just trying to get a riff that sounds decent and try to find a melody. It's like, I mean, I think you got to be a pretty darn, intelligent artist and talented artist to be able to sit down and be like, okay, I'm going to write I don't know, I can't think of an analogy right now, but write a song that sounds like X. At least for me, but I don't really know what I'm trying to say there. But
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's great.
I think most musicians just sit down and play.
Yeah.
What comes out comes out. I don't think anybody sits around trying to sound like somebody else. I think naturally when you sit around and play, and all you've played is Blink, and all you listen to is Blink, and the people you're playing with are in that same category, what's going to come out? Stuff that probably sounds like Blink and the like. So yeah.
No, I've enjoyed your stories and your insights. Every time I'm like, we wrap it up, and then I'm like sucked back in. And I'm like, man, I'm loving it.
I'm glad.
Yeah, Ty, I really appreciate you, saying yes to coming on and being our first, interviewer, our interviewee.
Yeah, for sure.
This was a blast. This was really, really good. You have some pretty amazing stories, my friend. It's and I could listen to them all day. Like legit, I could listen to them all day. So we might have you back.
I appreciate it. I'm excited to hear the stories that other members of the community have, and I think it's a great idea that you have because just think of the ones that we know off the top of our head, the cool stories they have, and I mean, there's plenty of us out there playing in bands and doing things and having fun with music. Yeah. So there'll be a lot of cool stories here.
Since it's the end of the video, give us the handles for your band again. HXLY.
Yeah, it's Huxley without the vowels. Yeah, at HXLY band on Instagram. Give us a follow. Our next show is in Indianapolis on December 22nd, which we can kind of bill as our annual holiday show, which basically just means we play a Christmas song we wrote and did a video for. So other than that, it's pretty much a typical show. And then, we'll focus on getting the record out. And then we submitted to be considered to play the Midwest stage at South by Southwest. But logistically, I'm not sure, even if I don't know if I should say this on here, but even if we're selected, if we're going to be able to make it work. But I think in my mind, it's just, where there's a will, there's a way. So it's like, let's see if we can get selected first and then figure it out from there, So, but other than that, just keep playing around indie and just keep having fun with it. I mean, at the end of the day, I just wanted to buy that P bass, and I wanted a reason to go to Guitar Center to buy strings and picks again, and it's like, 5 years later, I'm, several years into a band, and, I think one thing that was a big catalyst was going to see Blink at the Vegas residency. I think that was a big catalyst. I think seeing NFG in 2017 in April on the 20th anniversary tour at Bogarts and Cincy, because I think at that point, that may have been the longest gap in time between. I can't remember last time I had seen him before then, but it had been a couple years, and I usually see him at least once a year. But so anyway.
Well, amazing stories. If somebody's watching, you made it to the end of the video, you're awesome. And
thank you guys.
If anybody wants to hang out with me and Stefan and do this yourself, hit us up on Gear. Stefan can make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Ty, again, thank you so much for the time, the stories, the laughter, everything. Really do appreciate it. And for everybody else, we'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now, guys.
Bye.
See y'all. Bye.